Good afternoon. On behalf of the Civil Rights Division at the United States Department of Justice and Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Kristen Clark, thank you very much for joining us and welcome to today's Combating Modern Day Redlining event. To kick us off, I'm going to turn the floor over to Dr. Katia Passerini, Provost for Seton Hall University.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Seton Hall University. I am delighted to have you here. We were a little lucky, and we'll take any luck we can get. But we're very lucky because I cannot think about a better topic to spend a couple of hours discussing together. I'm here to bring you our regards of our 21st President, Josephine Ayer, and the entire Cabinet and our Board of Regents, and to welcome here to our Seton Hall Law School. As we were chatting upstairs, I learned a lot of great things, and I look forward to learning more from your experience. One area that was so exciting to me that I had not heard yet was about the concept of legal design and using design thinking to bring people and community in the middle to solve a lot of the problems that we will be discussing today. So without further ado, thank you for being here and for the opportunity to share with us and our students and our faculty your knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Provost Passerini. My name is Mikhail Rojas. I'm a counsel to the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Kristen Clark. And to offer some opening welcome remarks, we'll turn the stage now to U.S. Attorney Philip Selinger.
Thank you, Provost Passerini, Dean Cornwell, and to Seton Hall for joining with the Department of Justice to host this important event. Seton Hall Law School has spawned generations of lawyers who have given so much back to the state of New Jersey. We're fortunate at the U.S. Attorney's Office to have several of your alumni, so thank you, Seton Hall, as well. And thank you to Assistant Attorney General Clark for your leadership in the department's Civil Rights Division. In New Jersey, we are fond of our lighthouses, and the Civil Rights Division has been a beacon for civil rights protections for communities throughout the Department of Justice, so thank you for that. And the U.S. Attorney's Office is very pleased to partner with the Civil Rights Division in so many important matters to the people of New Jersey. I'm proud also to be here today with Director Chopra, Attorney General Platkin, Mayor Baraka as well. When President Johnson signed the Fair Housing Act of 1968, more than half a century ago, he knew, as did the heroic civil rights lawyers who joined in the passage of the act, that home ownership is the pillar of the American dream. It allows people to build wealth, to access credit, and to reduce housing costs. In the 55 years since the passage of the Fair Housing Act, there has been some hard-earned progress, but that progress has been uneven, and it's also been slow. It does not mask the reality that redlining is happening in New Jersey today. It's happening today in New Jersey. It's happening today right here in Newark. According to a 2022 report by the New Jersey Institute of Social Justice, and the leader of the institute is here today, Ryan Haygood, 38% of Black New Jersey households own homes, compared to 75% of white New Jersey households. In addition, the typical white family has $132,000 in home equity, whereas the typical Black family, having no home ownership and renting, has none. And redlining is to blame, at least in significant part, for this disparity. And I want to emphasize that these statistics are not from 1968. They're from today. We're here today because in October of 2021, Assistant Attorney General Clark and Attorney General Garland launched an initiative to combat modern-day redlining. The Institute joins together the Department of Justice, United States Attorney's offices around the country, and our state counterparts to work to combat redlining. And this is one of the reasons why I created a Civil Rights Division at the U.S. Attorney's Office here in New Jersey. We have doubled the number of attorneys focused exclusively on civil rights enforcement and mobilized our resources in a single division to concentrate our efforts to root out hate and discrimination. And we are laser focused on redlining. Last year, Attorney General Clark and I announced a lawsuit and a consent decree to resolve allegations that Lakeland Bank had committed redlining in the Newark metropolitan area. The allegations were shocking, to be candid. If you lived in a Black or Hispanic neighborhood in Essex County, Somerset County, or Union County, you likely had little opportunity to apply for, and certainly not obtain, a mortgage from Lakeland Bank. And in fact, you probably never even saw a Lakeland branch in your community. That's because of the nearly 40 Lakeland branches in these areas. None were in majority Black or Hispanic neighborhoods, none. As we alleged, Lakeland unlawfully structured its lending business to avoid servicing majority Black and Hispanic neighborhoods. Lakeland's peer banks generated over 5 times the number of loans and mortgage applications. There were qualified buyers in these areas. Lakeland simply didn't serve them. The consent decree will force Lakeland to make reforms, and I'm happy to report that among the reforms required are opening 2 new branches in communities of color and 1 right here in Newark, and creating a $12 million loan subsidy fund to help support loan borrowing in neighborhoods and surrounding Newark areas. And these subsidies will help level the playing field by providing real mortgages for real people in these Black and brown communities. We know this type of intervention works. Nearly a decade ago, my office, the Civil Rights Division, the CFPB, brought a redlining suit to end the activities of the Hudson Savings Bank, City Savings Bank, which was engaging in redlining. Through that consent decree, the bank, among other things, provided a $25 million loan subsidy fund. And this resolution generated over $500 million of loans in those communities. And that's a real world impact, $500 million in loans. Loans that helped individuals in New Jersey of color own a home, start a business, grab their share of the American dream. That's the impact that we at the Justice Department, together with our state colleagues, can make if we continue to commit ourselves to combating redlining. Part of the promise of America is equal opportunity, and achieving that dream should be colorblind. And that means that obtaining a loan for a home should not be dependent on the color of one's skin or national origin. Redlining is racist, pure and simple, and New Jersey will not tolerate that kind of intentional and systemic discrimination. Along with our colleagues at DOJ, the state, and regulatory agencies, we remain committed to continuing to fight to root out the redlining from the state. Thank you.
Thank you, U.S. Attorney Selinger, for those remarks, and thank you to the U.S. Attorney staff, many of whom are here with us today. We'll now turn the floor to the Honorable Mayor Raz J. Baraka.
Thank you. Just want to first say thank you to Seton Hall Law School for opening up the doors and allowing this convening to take place here. very important and timely discussion that we're having here today. Just want to also thank U.S. Attorney Selinger and the work that you guys are doing here in Newark, particularly around Lakeland, and our Attorney General, Matt Clappin. Thank you for being here. And the work you're doing around housing as well has been very helpful for us here in Newark. And obviously, we're ecstatic to have you here with us, Assistant Attorney General, Civil Rights Division, Ms. Clark. We're glad to have you here with us. Ecstatic, happy to see you in this position and doing the work that you're doing. And I just want to start by reiterating something that the U.S. Attorney here said that he got from my good friend Ryan Haygood over there in the Institute for Social Justice around the home ownership here in the state of New Jersey. That number, that stark contrast, that number leads to another statistics that we talk about all the time, and that is the wealth gap. That's one of the largest in this country here, our inability to experience the American dream because of us being locked out of mortgages, locked out of credit, locked out of opportunities to own homes purposefully and deliberately. And so if we go beyond 1968, past the Fair Housing Act and start talking about the Home Ownership Loan Corporation, and you begin to see that this was not just by happenstance, that this was deliberate and intentional act to underdeveloped communities of color that are still being impacted today. And so even after 1968, the impact of racism is not only being felt because people are still practicing it now, it's being felt because of what happened in 1933 and 1934. And it wasn't just around housing. It made it impossible for people to develop supermarkets. It made it impossible for people to develop and build hospitals. And these are the things that we're suffering from today, the inability to have primary care physicians because the lack of health care and hospitals in our community, the inability to access quality food because the lack of quality supermarkets in neighborhoods where people can walk to that are affordable in our neighborhoods and community. And so as a mayor, we're not just interested in punishing people who participated and are participating in these acts. We're actually looking for repair. And so we need an opportunity for this to be built on, right? So we need solution and solving for years, decades of deliberate and intentional undermining of the American dream for people based on the color of their skin, their national origin, even the language that they speak. And so we believe that not only should they be punished, but they should be forced to help rectify the situation, and not just the private sector, but also the public sector, because the public sector was complicit in this activity as well. So that was probably one of the first public-private partnerships that existed, the public-private partnership to undermine African Americans in this country, which means there needs to be a public-private solution to this as well. And we're completely grateful that Lakeland is being held to the carpet and that they're going to have to set up a fund and pay for the damage that they've done to our community. We just want it to be very quantifiable. We want it to be material. We want families to be able to go into homes. And so punishing them doesn't help me unless it really helps me. And so in Newark, we have to do creative things. We have to partner with NACA and Bank of America and CDFIs to make sure that we can provide people that are in Section 8 homes using a voucher to be able to become homeowners. We have to do that. We have to sell property for $1 in the city that's dilapidated and tell people that they don't have to put any money down on this property, that in fact, if you go through a couple of classes, you can get this property and your mortgage will be based on whatever you put in to fix it up. You have to be creative about making home ownership because the number of homeowners in Newark is slim. 75% of the population of this city rents. 75% are renters. And the average income is $34,000 for a family of 3. The average home in Newark costs $350,000 now. And so if you own a home, your equity is going skyrocket because the values of your homes are increasing, but it's making it more and more out of reach for working people who have jobs in the city that cannot afford to be a homeowner and will never be an American dream for generations and generations and generations to come. So I'm looking for help to rectify that. And so this meeting, this gathering, this discussion is very helpful for me, and hopefully it'll get on the minds of very brilliant people in here, incredible lawyers that'll figure out ways to get us to rectify the situation, to hold people to the carpet, create opportunity and justice for people who have done wrong, but also a pathway out of poverty and a pathway and a bridge towards the American dream for millions of Americans who've been promised something that they never had the opportunity to see yet. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you.